Greetings and salutations there, my friends. It is I, your weaver of tales, your chronicler of legends, and ever so humble storyteller. And we are streaming here now on Twitch and kicking things off on the Solo Fun Day Sunday with a solo TTRPG called The Pilgrimage of the Sun Guard by Amanda P. But first off, just what is a solo TTRPG, you may ask? Well, a solo TTRPG is, well, a tabletop role playing game that you could play by yourself. It's kind of like one of those choose your own adventure books from back in the day combined with a creative writing exercise. It could be a great way to hone your improv skills and get that creative juice flowing between sessions and games. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what a solo TTRPG is, and throughout the years, I supported a number of charities and such on itch.io, and a lot of these charities actually comes bundled up with a lot of really cool solo TTRPGs, so I ended up amassing quite a collection, so I was thinking, you know what? Why not stream it? So, well, here we are. Anyway, alright, Pilgrimage of the Sun God. This is a game, as I said before, by Amanda P. And you can get it right now on itch.io. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put the link and info down in the description below. But anyway, on the itch.io page, it says, quests in King Arthur stories are about ideals, conflict, and temptation. Pilgrimage of the Sun Guard is a solo prompt-based journaling game where you create a sun guard and travel alone on a quest, attempting to hold your code until you reach the end, facing trials and complications along the way. You are the last of the sun guards, and will you take up the mantle and ride the ancient roads? So yeah, we're gonna be playing this via the PDF that I've downloaded, which, like I said before, it is available on the itch.io page. All right. So, let's start with the how to play on page 8 here. This game is about going on a quest and doing great deeds before winter comes. It's about attempting to act virtuously despite temptations to violate your code. It requires a dice roller, or dice, which is 2d6, a 1d8, and a 1d4. A piece of paper, which we're going to be using WordPad here, as you can see. And let's see here. A writing instrument, once again, WordPad, and background music if you would like to frame a quest of great deeds. And what's kind of cool is, actually, if you go on the itch.io page now, there's actually a playlist feature on Spotify and YouTube that you could use to play in the background for your games. Sadly, we are not going to be using it because I do not want to get a strike here on Twitch or my YouTube channel, but we'll figure something out in post. So yeah. Anyway, while questing, you will visit places, experience challenges, and spend resources to address those challenges. Your resources are might, guile, and might, guile, honor, and time. You will use these to complete adventures on the road. So anyway, let's see. See what these resources are. Might is your strength and agility. Honor is your perceived trustworthiness. Guile is your cleverness and social intelligence. And time represents weeks until the roads become impassable. So anyway, as you travel, you will attempt to earn deeds of renown. Deeds demonstrate your prowess. You'll want to gain as many as possible on your pilgrimage. So, to start, read the cycloplay on the next page and then create a character and turn to the section Departure. But before we do, you know what? We are going to, on our handy dandy word pad here, we're going to, give me a second, folks. There we go. We are going to mark down, I guess you could say our character sheet here. So put down name here. We'll fill that out later. But then we have our might, our guile, our honor, and time. I'll mark those. There we go. That'll represent our character sheet. If you played TTRPG before, it represents, well, basically your character and all their infos and stats and such. Anyway. Alright, the cycle of play. First, turn to the next location. I'm guessing as we're playing, when we first turn to our next location, we spend 1 time. And then we roll 2d6 and then add the dice, which will be our first writing prompt. Read the prompt and follow the directions. At each location, you will roll for 2 prompts unless otherwise directed. Reroll your dice if you get the same prompt. Prompts are based around choices your character would make on their journey. You will spend or gain resources and earn deeds of renown. Record those on your sheet. So, for each location, write a brief summary, and here's a little example. On the second week of my journey, I found myself in the precarious desert. I encountered a strange fell beast that dogged my steps and was forced to travel out of my way, adding days to my journey. I happened upon a settlement of strangers who welcomed me and gave me shelter, renewing my spirit. So, yeah. If you run out of resources, including time, your character could choose to end the quest or break their code to regain resources. See page 28 for more info on that. Anyway. But you know what? We are going to create our character here first, which is on page 10 here if you're following us here on the stream/video. Second here. All right. Character creation. First, make a person who believes their code and their honor is their life. Choose a background below or create your own. Choose 2 traits from the background. All right. Well, we have, I'm guessing, let's see here, these backgrounds are kind of like archetypes of your kind of traditional knights in stories you read, like in King Arthur and such. We have the apprentice, whose code is prove oneself to other people through great deeds. Their traits are eager, curious, courageous, immature, and their cherished item is a handmade item. Then we have the romantic. We have a code here is experience life's banquet through poetic acts of valor. Traits are passionate, worldly, artistic, and brave. Then their cherished item is a loved one's token. Then we have the cloistered. Their code is to pursue knowledge and gain honor through sacrifice. Their traits are studious, righteous, I'm not really familiar with this word here, kind of want to say, you know what? I'm just going to skip that one. And tactful. Their cherish item is a tome of knowledge. Then we have the veteran here, which is their code is to protect the innocent as one's own person. Their traits are brave, reserved, approachable, and weary. And their cherished item is a fallen comrade's weapon. So, see here on our character sheet, let's put that under name. We'll put down background. All right. So, what background do we want to choose here? Do we want to be the apprentice, the romantic, the cloistered, or the veteran? You know what? I read a little bit ahead in this booklet here. Well, ahead in the rules. And let's see here. Let me go down here. They have a... Let's see here. On page 28, as they referred to before, is codes and corruption. I'm just going to read off what they have here. In medieval romance stories, people are torn between their nature and their duty. Thematically, the main character breaks their code in some way, learns from the experience and grows. When you run out of resources, including time, roll a d6 and respond to the prompt below. Then, roll a d6 and recover that many resource. Return to where you were on your pilgrimage and continue on your journey. Check the alternate prompts on page 30 for inspiration for this part of your journey if needed. And it tells you what do you do if you decide to break your code and continue on your pilgrimage. And I really like this, how they did it here. So your game just doesn't end. You kind of take a knee. You kind of sacrifice something, and you grow for it, you know? And I'm a big fan of flawed characters who have to kind of overcome some type of adversity, you know? And you know what? Because of that, I am going to find the page. Find the page where I was at. Here. Here we go. Where is that page? The character creation page on page 10. I am going to choose the veteran. The veteran. Because I'm thinking there's a variant rule that I think I'm thinking that we're going to go use that I kind of like. But anyway, the veteran. Let's see. Their code is to protect the innocent as one's own person. All right. And their traits are... We choose 2 traits here. We could be brave, we could be reserved, we could be approachable, and we could be weary. I'm going to choose... We're going to go with... Let's go with brave. Our veteran is a brave warrior. Brave warrior. But also... They are weary. They're a veteran. They we'll say, they've been on many campaigns. Perhaps they're now in the twilight of their years. They maybe have just enough in the tank for one more grand adventure. Like that, yeah. The cherished item is... Yeah. Cherish item is a fallen comrade's weapon. And we'll say... Let's go with the traditional sword. We'll go with the traditional sword. We'll go with we'll go with their brother's sword. We'll go with their brother's sword. Like that. Fits. Thematically, it fits. It fits like that. Alright. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Now, sparks for character ideas. Oh, actually, let me read this part here. Next, you roll 2d6 and total the dice. So here on our dice roller here, we are going to roll 2d6. I mean, not bad. We got a total of 7 here. Got a total of 7. And now we will divide that between might, guile, and honor. So, we'll first go with 2 across the board. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we'll go with. I'm going to give him a 3 in guile, actually. Oh, wait. I just remembered. Well, this is what you typically do to create a character, kind of, kick off your stats. But I remember reading, ahead for. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. We'll just go with that. We'll just go with that. Yeah, we'll just go with that. I'll talk about it later on, the variant rule. Actually, well, I'll talk about it now. Why not now? Let's see here. Alternate rules is... Let's see here. I believe... Let me find it. Pages. Applications. Let's see here. Well, somewhere here, I believe I read, instead of rolling 2d6, you could roll 1d6, which kind of guarantees that you're going to be breaking your code at least twice during your playthrough, which kind of like for the veteran, but the fact that we rolled, as you can see here, a 5 and a 2, I believe we're going to have to break our code at least once. So, we'll just go with rules as written. We'll go with rules as written for our playthrough here. All right, let me get back to the page. Keep losing my page here. Here it is. Page. All right. See here, and we also add time with 6 units to start. These are your resources for your quest. Create your character using the spark tables on the following pages, and then depart. And let's see here on our next table is sparks for character ideas. So these are kind of to flesh out your character. Some ideas kind of flesh out your character. So right here. Why did your character join the Sun Guard? So how did our character join the Order of the Sun Guard? Could maybe politics, educational pursuits, economics, camaraderie and community, perhaps to escape one's marriage or hometown, or maybe a penance. See here. We'll say our veteran first joined the Sun Guard for camaraderie and community. I like that. Camaraderie and community. We'll put down in their younger years, they join the order to follow in the steps of their older brother. You know what? Not just their older brother, their father, and their family. So it's a family business. It's a family business. What do they look like is the next prompt here. What do they look like? Fresh as new snow, rough-hewn sculpture, a beguiling a twinkle in their eye, soft, lined with care, knotted like an old oak tree, barrel-like and sturdy, fine as china, strong as iron, or cheerful and confused. We'll go with our veteran is, well, a veteran. We have decided that he's kind of in the twilight of his years, so we're gonna go with knotted like an old oak. Let's see, knotted like an old oak. What else? I want to add some other stuff to it. Give him a medium build. A medium build with shoulder length, white hair. Kind of want to give, I want to give him a, what's his name? What's the name of that actor? He's been in a lot of westerns. He was the cowboy in The Big Lebowski. Anybody remember that actor's name? I'm blanking on it. He played Ron in the other Ron in Parks and Recs as well. Not Ron Swanson, the other Ron. Ron Dunn in Parks and Recs. Why do I remember his character name, but I just can't seem to remember his name? Let's see here. You know what? That's going to bug me, so I'm going to look it up. What's his name? There we go. Sam Elliott. I can't believe I forgot his name. I want to give him like Sam Elliott's mustache. So, but I want it kind of longer, so we'll say a long drooping mustache. And flashing green eyes. Flashing green eyes. All right. So next writing prompt is what is their greatest gift? We have here songs to make the heart ache, clever, quick to mind, agile, swift of feet, brawny of bone and arms, empathetic and insightful, or charismatic leader of the people. You know what? We're going to make him clever. Yeah, clever and quick of mind. Like that. We'll say he was stronger. He was stronger back in the day, but now with the years, the years kind of growing, he's going on in years, and with his experience, he has learned to use his wits and cleverness as a weapon. Yeah. He may not be the strongest, but he's clever. He's smart. So anyway, next up is what do they wish for under the stars? 1, to remember. 2, to forget. 3, to keep a great love. 4, to regain something lost. 5, to protect others, to serve. And 6, to rest. You know what? Our veteran is a cowboy. He's seen it all, done a lot in his life, and now that he's kind of at the end of his road now, he's just kind of looking to rest, kind of hang up his blade and take a well-deserved retirement, you know? So we're going to put down to rest. Like that. Like that. See here. What's next? What do we have next here? All right. Names. All right. Select a name. To let fate choose, do the following. Roll d6 to select the roll of names. The first will be a roll of 1 to 2. The second will be a roll of 3 to 4. And the third will be a roll of 5 to 6. And then roll d6 to select the column. Same breakdown. Then roll d6 to select the name. So, do we want to let fate choose our character's name, or do we want to choose it ourselves? I believe a name should have meaning. A name should have meaning. A name has power. Oh, actually, I want to fix this here. Second. So we're going to actually choose a name, but later on, we're just going to go with, we're going to let fate choose. Going to let fate decide. But this one name, we will decide. But we have a lot of different names here. We have everything from Emir, Gertrude, Sama, Rima, Wana, Galib, Leoric, Felix, Hawk, Bard, Zan, Tove, Sigrid. Let's see here. We will decide. Let's see. What are we going to name our character? What will we name our character? Let's name our character Raphis. That's a good name. Raphis. And now descriptors. Select a descriptor to add to your name. To let fate choose, do the following. And pretty much the same as we would have done by letting fate choose our name. But yeah. Let us roll a d6. 3. All right, 3. We rolled a 3, which means we are going to choose from number 1 here. Let's see. Choose on roll number 1, and now we will roll 1d6 once again. Got a 5. That means we are going to choose from the third column, and then we'll roll 1d6 one more time to see which descriptor we got here. 4. We got 4. Raphis the Kind. There we go. Raphis the Kind. Okay, we are brave, we are weary, but we are also kind. We are a kind man. We are a kind man. Anyway. Here we go. Oh, and, the example here actually, we should actually mark this down. 2, because we will be marking our resources down, so we'll do it like that. Anyway. Alright, and well, that is our character. We have Raphis the Kind. His background is the veteran. His code is to protect the innocent as one's own person. His traits are brave and weary. His cherished item is his, actually I'm going to put this here. I'm going to add this. His late brother's sword. He has a might of 2, a guile of 3, 2 of honor, and 6 time. And why did he join the Sun Guard? For camaraderie and community. In their younger years, they in their younger years, he joined the order to follow in the steps of his. He defines himself as he him. He's a he him. So I'm just gonna fix this here. In his younger years, he joined the order to follow in the steps of his older brother, his father, and his family. What did he look like? Knotted like an old oak, medium build with shoulder-length white hair, long drooping mustache, and flashing green eyes. What is their greatest gift? He is clever and quick of mind. And what do they wish for under the stars? It is to rest. Alright. So, we are going to kick things off. I'm going to read the introduction. But before I do, I hope you have your beverage, because I do. Nice little roasted green tea. Take a sip. Remember, folks, hydrate. All right. Upon a great mesa, a crumbling keep, emblazoned with fading symbols of a many-rayed sun, the spinnerets were once blazing gold, a proud embodiment of a great order now fallen into the days of lesser influence. The halls once echoed with the laughter of men at arms, the decoration of solar scholars, the warmth of many hearth that now sip breath of heat and tender. The empire, before eroded like a slowly aging ruin, was full of such orderly halls, and the stories of the realm echoed with their warriors and scholars' great feats. You are one of the last vouchsafed members of a great order, though you have only known it in its latter days. The Empire's chaotic dissolution, a distant memory from your childhood. A strange messenger has arrived calling the Sun Guard to ride the ancient roads, and you are the only one fit enough to follow the quest wherever it may lead. That's the introduction. And let's see here. We go. Departure. Oh, and I believe, let me just double check here. I'll make sure I do this right. Prompt. Alright. I'll mark this here. Mark this like the departure. Alright. Censers, smoke, and beeswax candles burn in the remote mountaintop shrine of the sun god. The sun hangs low, waiting to rise on the horizon. The slate tiles are roughed on your knees as Sword Saint Azur's blade touches each shoulder. Placing the sword down, the Sword Saint declaims thus, voice echoing in the smoky hall. The messenger has come. The signs are here. It is time to reclaim the ancient right of the Sun Guard. To pilgrimage to our ancient shrine in the frost cliffs to declare the deeds done in your light, in the light of the sun. Go, ride the ancient roads, do right by all you meet, be valiant, be true, hold to your code. Anointing your forehead in oil, the Sword Saint declares in a singing tone the visions and signs for your vouchsafed quests, the signs of the sun you are under. All right. See here. Got here, writing prompt here. We are going to be, I see, and we're going to roll a d8 to see what we see. What do we see? What do we see? Roll a 4. I see resentment and greed. All right. We also see what else do we see? What else do we see here? We got a 2. That's we see trembling hands cleansing. All right. When you have a chance to incorporate the prophecy's motif into a prompt response, you could avoid marking one resource. You could do this once per motif. With the Sword Saint's words ringing in your ears, you mount your horse and depart, riding over the edge of all you've known, down the rough mesa roads to the great beyond. How do you feel leaving everything behind and heading into the unknown? All right, so as it says here, when you have a chance to incorporate the prophecy's motif into a prompt response, you can avoid marking one resource. Do it once per motif, which I'm guessing if we incorporate resentment and greed or trembling hands cleansing somehow into our writing prompt for our later writing prompts, we could avoid marking down one resource. And I'm pretty sure, at least I think, this will be one resource here, so we're going to mark down one time. So we have 5 out of 6 time now. So here's a writing prompt here. How do you feel leaving everything behind and heading into the unknown? And then we turn to the next page. All right. So how does Raphis feel leaving everything behind and heading into the unknown? Let's see. Serving in the shrine of the Order of the Sun Guard and the surrounding lands has all been that Raphis has known his entire adult life. His father and brother had done the same before him. Done the same before him. Serving the shrine of the Order of the Sun Guard and the surrounding lands it's been all that Raphis has known his entire life. His father and brother has done the same before him. All right, I think we'll go with that. Serving in the shrine of the Order of the Sun Guard and the surrounding lands has been all that Raphis has known his entire adult life. His father and brother had done the same before him, before making their own pilgrimages. His brother did not return from his own quest. The only thing that was found was his sword, which Raphis wields to this day. Alright, that's a nice little backstory. Now in the twilight of his Now in the twilight of his years, he is finally called upon to make his own journey. Packing his supplies and his brother's blade, he looks back at the shrine nervously as he leaves the only home he ever knew. Alright. Go. Alright. Let's see what's our next part of our adventure is. Crossing the desert. Crossing the desert. Alright. Let's see here. Wind and sand and heat. The desert lies before you and across the edges of your memory. Is this your first crossing, or have you weathered these roads before on another journey? We roll 2d6, respond to the prompts, do this twice, and then move on. Alright, so. Let's see here. 2d6. Roll a 5 and a 6, which adds up to 11. So, let's see here. The prompt here is circling and... let's see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to mark this here. I'm going to mark it here just so we know what we rolled. Rolled a 1 and... see, I rolled 11 here. Circling and circling, you can distantly make out a great hawk soaring high above you on the thermal winds emanating from the hot sand below. You see it dive aggressively and then emerge, bearing a snake. When have you been ruthless? Could you be as decisive and aggressive in a time of great need? Regain 1 resource. So we are going to regain 1 resource, and the only resource we can really regain right now is 6. So the time. So we are back now to 6 here on time. Let's see here. Going to roll our second prompt, which is... here we got a 6 and a 3, which makes it a 9, which... 9. You awaken to rustling and curses. Someone is trying to steal something from you that you cannot afford to lose, but they need it more than you do. What is it? How do you react? Spend 1 resource and then gain 1 deed. You know what? We will spend... let's see here. Oh, I need to look up what the stats represent again really quick. We're going to spend 1 guile, I think, on that. Yeah, we're going to spend 1 guile. Mark number 9 here. Here. And we will gain 1 deed. I'm going to mark here a deed here. Actually, here will be deed 1. Yeah, that works. All right. Let's see what are we going to write. Let's see here. Anyway, let's see what we have so far is making his way from the valley. Raphis sees Before him, the vast desert. This has been the farthest he has ever traveled. As the oppressive heat bears down on him, he looks up and sees a great hawk soaring high above. Suddenly, the hawk swoops down and flies back up with a snake in its claws. This reminds Rafis of... what does this remind Rafis of? Anyway, suddenly the hawk swoops down and flies back up with a snake in its claws. This reminds Rafis of his younger years training in the shrine. His brother was brutal in his lessons, but afterwards he was always kind when tending to Rafis's wounds. He remembers his brother's words. In battle, you cannot be kind. You must be aggressive and ruthless if you wish to be the one that returns home. Right. Like that. That takes care of our first writing prompt, but now we have the other one. And let's see. Alright, let's see. Went down When night finally falls, Rafis sets up camp and falls into a deep slumber. But he was awakened at some point of the evening to someone's voice. Quickly waking up, Rafis takes up his blade and finds that a young man was going through his belongings in search of coin and food. Seeing the poor state of this young man, Rafis offers half of his coin and food. Half of his supplies, as well as instructions to the Sun Guard shrine. Perhaps if the young man can find meaning and camaraderie with the order, perhaps there is still hope in this world after all. I like that. Raph is the kind, you know? So anyway, seems here, I rolled for days, sun beating down on burnt skin, until I saw the Sun Guard sign on a stone and found an ancient hovel of our people where I sought shelter from the heat. Ooh, you know what? I will use that. I will put down, that's finally, Rapha's finally comes upon. Ooh. Yeah, there we go. All right, that works. Let's see, what do we have next? Under the shadowy pines. All right, I like that. Under the shadowy pines. And we are going to... here it is. The air is clean and smells of sap. Drips of yesterday's rainfall fall slowly through the arbor onto your hands. The sun seems far away now through the tightly woven boughs. Right. Let's roll 2d6, read the prompt, do this twice, and then we move on. 1 and 2. We got 11 here again. All right. Mark that down. Oh, and before I forget, downtime here. Let's see here. Oh, actually, wait. Did I do it right? Did I already mess up? Let's see. We gain 1 resource, which is time. We did right. Anyway, 11. The clattering of wooden wheels greets your ears as a humble cart drawn by a donkey approaches you. Pushing her glasses up and blowing a curl out of her face, a clear voice lets you know she's heading to assist a remote family with a birth. She shares a poultice with you before she heads on her way. And we regain one resource. Alright. We'll regain guile. Let's see here. Alright. Air is clean and smells. Alright. The air is clean and smells of sap as Raphis makes his way from the desert to the pine-filled forest. The fresh scent of the trees invigorates him as he makes his way down the road. As the sun goes down, the clattering of wooden wheels greets Raphis' ears as he sees a humble cart drawn by a donkey led by a midwife. Exchanging a few words, the woman told Raphis that a nearby family is expecting a birth soon. New life is precious, and a good reason to celebrate. Before parting ways, the midwife offers Raphis a healing poultice for his journey, which he accepts graciously. Alright, that's our first prompt. Let's see what do we have next? What happens to Raphis next in the pines? 2, right. Oh, we got a 6. We rolled double 3, got a 6. And let's see. Ooh. Twinkling sounds at twilight, a ring of flowers where giggling voices encourage you to lighten your burdens. How do you appease the small fey ones? Do you hold to the code? Let's see here. Spend 1 resource, 2 if you dance, and gain a deed. See here. We gain a deed, but do we dance where we spend 2 resources, or do we not? How do we have? You know what? Actually, wait. Let me mark this down first. 6. I'm going to spend a guile, and we do gain an honor because remember, we see here. One of the things we chose is Raphis' greatest gift is he is clever and quick of mind. So, as night falls, Raphis fell into a a fey ring. Let's see here. Let me see here. So far I have, as night falls, Raphis finds himself lost deep in the pines, and before he knows it, he finds himself in the middle of a ring of flowers as giggling voices sound from the shadows. This must be one of those fey rings that Raphis learned about from his lessons back at the shrine. Let's see here. I think that works. Alright. As night falls, Raphis finds himself lost deep in the pines, and before he knows it, he finds himself in the middle of a ring of flowers as giggling voices sound out from the shadows. This must be one of those fey rings that Raphis learned about from his lessons back at the shrine. The stories told of how victims of these fey rings were cursed by the small folks, or they can either bargain or... So stories told of how victims of these fey rings were cursed by the small folks, and they can either bargain or win their freedom. Knowing the Fae cannot resist a game of chance, Raphis challenged them to a riddle contest, and if he can answer the most riddles before the sun rises, Raphis can go free. It was back and forth all night, but just as the next day's sun crested above the trees, Raphis was able to answer one final riddle from the Fae and wins his freedom. I like that. That works. That works there. That works. And let's see, I spent one resource. I gained one. Yeah, go with that. All right, next writing prompt. First, hydrate break. Hydrate. That's good tea. All right. The River Valley. Rushing water over stones and through the reeds, creeks join two great rivers flowing down from the frost cliffs beyond. Blooms surround you in the great river valley. Roll 2d6, respond to the prompt, do this twice, and then move on. Alright, so 1 and a 2. We got a 4 and a 3, which is a 7. I'll mark that there. Alright, let's see what's 7. Let's see what we got for 7. Mighty trumpets, colorful pavilions, a tournament of noble knights from all orders and corners. The Sun Guard has no representative here to defend its honor in the lists. Do you design to prove your mettle? Spend one resource. Roll d6, 1 to 3, you are unhorsed. 4 to 6, you do decently, and gain a deed. All right, that's actually pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. We rolled a 1. Let's see. Oh, we were unhorsed. We were unhorsed. Okay. We do gain 1 deed here. And we do spend 1 resource. Time. And here, roll d6. Spend 1 resource. That works. Alright. Sleepy and weary after that encounter with the Fae, Raphis decides to travel on to get as far away from the pines as possible. Soon, he finds himself in the river valley with its mighty river running through it. If he follows the waterway, he knows he will soon make it to the frost cliffs. Pressing forward, Raphis soon finds himself in the middle of a tournament of noble knights from all orders and corners. One of the local lords, recognizing the Sun Guard symbol on Raphis' armor, offers him a place on the list, as the Sun Guard has no representative to defend its honor in the tournament. Raphis does decently in the first rounds of the contest, but weariness and exhaustion soon win out as he is unhorsed. Alright, let's see what's our next writing prompt here. 1 and 2. We got a 4 and a 6, which is a 10. Alright, let's see what we got here. Ooh. 1 second, folks. Alright. Oh, here it's number 10. Number 10. Splash! Looking into the creek, you spied a bejeweled fish, occasionally bobbing up to the water's surface to catch glances at you. It occasionally appears to be a fabulous personage. Then again, a fish. You feel called to join it. How do you resist its mighty pull? Spend 1 resource and gain 1 deed. Alright, well, let's see here. Oh, actually, let me mark this down. 10 here. Alright, spent one resource. We're going to spend one more guile. One more guile. Gain a feat. Alright, we'll put down... Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. After the tournament, Rafis presses forward on his quest. Night soon falls, and he finally makes camp and takes a well-deserved rest. As morning breaks and Rafis prepares himself for the next leg of his travels, he spies a magnificent bejeweled fish leaping from the river. Transfixed, Rafis stares at the fish. Unknown to him, he begins to make his way towards the waters and into its murky depths. As liquid begins to fill his lungs and darkness overtakes him, he looks up and sees the light from the sun above and a voice urging him to stay true to his quest. Suddenly, remembering his duty, he struggles against the water to finally return. Suddenly remembering his duty, he struggles against the water and... here we go. Suddenly remembering his duty, he struggles against the water and returns to shore. Works. That works. Let's see here. Ascending the frost cliffs. Right here. Take a sip. Remember, hydrate, folks. Hydrate. Ooh. Excuse me. All right. Ascending the frost cliffs. The late autumn wind shrieks through your bones as you begin your climb, with foreboding clouds threatening snow to cover the trail in the coming hours. Roll 2d6, respond to the prompt, and do this twice, and then move on. Alright, well, 1 and 2. So we got a 3 and we got a 4, which is a total of 7. And let's see here. Crash! Boulders hurtle towards your position, one after another, followed by curses from loud voices, like two pieces of granite rubbing together. They continue and get closer and closer to where you stand. How do you find safety? Spend one resource, gain a deed. Alright, let's see here. We're going to spend a resource and gain a deed. Oh yeah, we spend. Spend. I don't want to spend honor. It doesn't make sense. You know what? I'm going to spend a might. Yeah, I'm going to spend a might here. Once again, makes most sense. Alright. Wait, I need to check if does that mean we have to break our code? Do we have to break our code now, or does it mean like do we break a code as we get to 0, or do we break our code if we have no more resources of that to spend? It says here, if you run out of resources, including time, your character can choose to end the quest or break their code to regain resources. I don't really specify. You know what? I'm going to say You know what? I'm just gonna say if I need to spend a resource and I don't have any more resource, that's when I have to break the code or end the quest. That's how I'm interpreting. I'm going to interpret things anyway. See here. Okay. Oh, I need to mark this down first, real quick. 7. Delete. That works. Yeah. As Raphis finally makes his way to the frost cliffs and begins to scale its treacherous peaks, the cold chills peaks the cold chills the questing knight to his very bones. Just then, crash! Boulders begin to fall from above, one after another, followed by rough voices hurling both curses and insults. The voices were like two pieces of granite rubbing together. Squinting his eyes, Raphis couldn't make out the shape of cave trolls high above. Continuing his climb up, Raphis' hand grips a loose rock that breaks off, and the knight soon finds himself falling from the cliff. With a thud, he lands on a ledge. Struggling to stay focused from the pain, he spies a small opening in the mountain, and he begins to drag his body towards the cave. I'm satisfied with that. Let's see here, what else? We're going to roll. 1 and a 2. Got a 1. Oh, got snake eyes. But 1 and 1 makes a 2, which is harsh, shrieking voices descend aggressively from high. The guise of person and bird cruelly merged by spirits. Do you flee their mocking song? Spend 1 resource. Gain deed. We are going to see here. You know what? I'm gonna edit the story a little bit. It's not cave trolls. We'll just say this is part of what is it? The first writing prompt will follow the second one, which we'll edit from cave trolls to harpies. Yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna edit also like the voices were like two pieces of granite rubbing together. Or high shrieking. I mean, you know what? It's a TTRPG. We can, take some creative licensing, And just this way, it just flows better. To get a deed. I'm gonna spend 1 resource and gain a deed, so I got a 5th deed. I'm gonna spend a guile. I like that. All right. Getting up, Raphis limps into the cave. Outside, he can hear the harpies land on the ledge. Drawing his blade, he makes his stand. Raphis can feel the icy grip of fear upon his heart as the harpies advance towards him, their mocking voices singing what they would do to his corpse. Was this how his brother felt in his last moments? Steel clashed against claws, wet blood splattered against the cavern walls, and then silence. As the dust settles, Raphis stands victorious, but also battered and bloodied, with his brother's blade in hand. Looking down at his trembling hands, he remembers the vision from the shrine. Those trembling hands were his, cleansing in the aftermath of victory. His fate will not be like his brothers. He will press on. And because I incorporated the prophecy's motif into the prompts, I could actually avoid making marking one resource. So I'm getting back that guile. Yeah, yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah, I like that. The endless stairs. All right. Up and up, carved into the mountain face, thousands and thousands of stairs going around the mountain to the long abandoned hollowed halls of the Sun Guard. At the bottom of the steps, a warrior's encampment of the cruel dread arbiters of will, a militant order of grim renown. Roll 1d6 to find your way to the steps and through this perilous danger. Respond to the prompt and move on. So, instead of rolling 2d6 and doing 2 prompts, we're only doing 1d6 and 1 prompt. So, let's see here. Let's see what we get here. Roll 1d6. We got a 4. 4. You manage to find a cavern that leads up. Hopefully, a secret way up the great. Hopefully, a secret way up. How long are you in the cavern? Do you lose your way? All right. Actually, you know what? I'll mark 4 down here first. Roll 1d6. 1 to 3, you become lost. 4 to 6, you do not. All right. Let's see here. What do we got here? We got ourselves a 3, and that's oh, we do become lost. Story of my life. When the guardian asks if you are worthy, do you tell the truth of your corruption? How do you convince the statue to let you pass unimpeded? Spend 1 resource, or 2 if you got lost for a time. Gain 1 deed. All right. Well. Let's see here. Actually, first I need to spend this. So we're at 2 here. So spend 2 deeds. I'm going to spend 1 honor and 1 guile. Because we did get lost. And we also gained 1 deed. Alright. So, let's see what here. Let's see, how do you convince the statue to let you pass unimpeded? Well, first let's write up to that. This is what I love about Solo TTRPGs. It really kind of gets you thinking, you know, really get you into that creative writing mindset. So, how does he find the cavern? That actually, you know what? That actually, let's see, where is it? That's actually part of my prophecy, so I actually came back 1 resource, which I'm going to use for guile. There you go. Full circle. Full circle. But now, that actually went on a lot longer than I expected. We're actually going to... Where is it? Where is it? Alright, it took a little longer than we expected, but got there. Managed to find a cavern. We have to get back to the cavern. The original writing prompt. Uh, whew, like I said, it's it's a long one. Woo. Here we go. Up and up, Raphis can see the famed endless stairs that's carved into the mountain face. Thousands upon thousands of steps going around the mountain to the long abandoned hollowed halls of the Sun Guard. And at the bottom of these steps, Raphis can see the encampment of the cruel dread arbiters of will, a militant order of grim renown. Battered and wounded after his battle with the Harpies, he knows he cannot those warriors, face off against those warriors, and must find another path towards the halls of the Sun Guard. Waiting until nightfall, Raphis makes use of the darkness to sneak past the guards and patrols and towards the stairs. All the normal pathways up towards the endless stairs were just too closely guarded. Is this the end of Raphis's quest? After all the trials and tribulations he has faced thus far, is this the end? As he ponders this, a pair of hands appear behind him and twists his arms back. It was one of the dread arbiters of will patrolmen. Cursing his own inattentiveness, Raphis whips his head back and hears a satisfying crack of the arbiter's nose breaking. Now, free from his enemy's hold, Raphis draws his brother's sword once again. The two warriors slowly circle. A look of pure malice is on the arbiter's face as he growls out, "You broke my nose! I'm gonna take my time gutting you!" With a roar, the arbiter charges forward and brings his sword down on Raphis. At the last minute, the knight was able to bring it up to block, but the blow was so mighty that it knocked the blade out of Raphis's hand and sent him sprawling. Licking his lips, the arbiter picks up Raphis's sword. "You know, I always wanted a Sun Guard's blade. Heard these swords never lose their edge. Kinda poetic that you're gonna die by your own sword." Standing over Raphis, the arbiter is about to plunge the blade into his heart. Ooh, let me fix that. But just then, he sees from the corner of his eye the ghostly form of his brother mouthing the words, "You must be aggressive and ruthless if you wish to be the one that returns home." Grabbing a handful of dirt, Raphis flings it into the arbiter's face and then kicks out at his enemy's knee. With a curse, the arbiter's hand goes up to his eyes and then crumples onto the floor with a shout of pain. Drawing his dagger, Raphis plunges it into the arbiter's face. Breathing heavily, he looks down at his enemy's corpse. "You should have killed me when you had the chance. You were too greedy." Picking up his brother's sword once again, Rufus. Was it Rufus? Oh, it's Rufus. Should have been an F. Rufus looks back and forth. That shout will surely bring more patrols. Looking back to where he saw his brother, Rufus sees something glinting in the darkness. With no other plan, he begins making his way towards it and finds himself standing before the opening of what looks to be an overgrown cavern, and the glint was from a piece of mosaic tile. Just then, he could hear the voices off in the distance. What's that? They must have found the dead patrolman's body. Deciding to take his chances, Rufus enters the cavern which leads him deep into some tunnels. Seconds turn into minutes, which turn into hours, as these tunnels twist and turn. That is, until Rufus stands before a great stone idol. Looking around him, he was surprised when it begins to speak in a low, rumbling voice.
To pass, present your offering.
Looking around, Raphis with a sigh says, I have neither coins or jewels. All I have is my brother's blade and my quest.
To pass, present your offering.
Unsheathing his brother's sword, Raphis looks at it. It is his last connection to his brother and all that he has left. Kissing the flat of his blade. With this, I lay my final burden down and press forward to journey's end. After uttering those words, Raphis plunges the sword into the earth.
Your offering is accepted.
The stone idol's mouth stretches open wide into an opening with stairs leading up. All right. We are on the home stretch, folks. The Declaration of Deeds. All right. The shrine of the shrine of the sun god. The shrine of the sun god stands proudly surveying the lands the order once held guardianship and protection over. Years and wars and opportunistic thievery has brought low the stained glass, and many of the timbers that supported the upper floors where warriors once prayed for guidance and restoration. The sun gleams over the frost cliffs and across the valley below, with the mesa where your brethren dwell, far on the horizon. A young voice calls to you, with weary wisdom beyond his years. Pilgrim, do you offer your deeds? Let us regard your countenance. It is time for the judgment. As you make your way inside the fallen, rotting hall of your order, the rising sun shines through the broken stained glass, illuminating colorful patterns on the worn rugs that cover the stone tile floors. A brisk wind chills you to the bone. As you process, you hear music. Though there are no players, and you see on either side of you a procession of spirits, old and young, your brethren who have quested the pilgrimage road before you. Their faces are encouraging you as you make your way down the long path to the sanctum and the last guardian. At the center of the sanctum stands a giant blazer which roars heartily with flame. A voice cries out to you, How have you fallen low? What are your failures? How did you atone? And this is where you read aloud or write down the moments where your code becomes corrupted and how you learn from them. So, you know what? We will go with, see, how are we going to do this? Because we actually didn't really fallen low, where we didn't really break our code. But I will say that, let's see here. Well, I'm just going to put down, we were led astray on our we were led astray on our quest, and that was kind of, you know, our encounter with that jeweled fish. Um, we lessons of We've also forgotten the lessons of those who came before. I'm going to use that to represent that lesson that our character's brother taught us to be ruthless and aggressive if we want to return home. Anything else? I think that's it. I think that's it. Oh, how we learn from them? We we learn from them. How did we learn from them? What's a good lesson to be had here? Hmm. Hmm. Anyway, we will go with ba, 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 ba. We, oop, we have remembered. Oop, we have remembered those lessons in our time of need. Well, I guess we could say we have remembered those lessons during our time of need. And while we were led astray, we have returned on our path. I think that works. Yeah, it works. Now, what deeds have thou wrought, pilgrim? Declare them. Now we read aloud each deed. If not, write each onto a piece of paper and lay them before you. After each, a great shout comes from the assembled brethren, and the fire pops with furious joy. When you are finished, you feel a warm embrace and hear the whispered words, "It is finished." As you open your eyes, the spirits have departed. The shrine is now made whole, as it would have been in the glorious days of your order, sanctified. What happens next is for you and your brethren to decide. The Sun Guard's place in this new world is yet to be forged. And you know what? After this, we will. You know what? I'm going to create a. You know what? Yeah. After this, I'm going to do some editing of the story that we written out so far, and add a ending to it. We're going to add an ending in post, and that's going to be up on the YouTube channel Fantastic Tales of Adventure. So yeah, it's going to be I'm going to put this in post. We're going to put this right here. All right, so I just want to put a note here that actually what I thought I did incorrectly earlier was I was actually right that I actually did do it incorrectly. When you run out of resources, you do end up breaking your code, and you have to roll on the codes and corruption table, which, as you can see here, I did, and I rolled a 6. Um, I believe it was my first writing prompt on ascending the frost cliffs, and it actually works out because the 6 that I rolled is distracted by ambition. You put yourself in great personal danger. What is the danger, and how do you survive? I'm just gonna say it's what I basically wrote. Rafis, as he climbed the cliffs, One of the rocks he grabbed onto broke off, and the danger was he plummeted and hit the ledge below him and hurt himself. But he also discovers a cave on the side of the mountain there, so he dragged his body over there. So that's going to be how he survives. So yeah, just a little note, when you do run out of resources, you do have to roll on the codes and corruption table, and you could regain, I'm guessing, that resource. Yeah, so there you go. The Departure. Censer smoke and beeswax candles burn in the remote mountaintop shrine of the Sun Guard. The sun hangs low, waiting to rise on the horizon. The slate tiles are rough on your knees as Sword Saint Azor's blade touches each shoulder. Placing the sword down, the Sword Saint declaims thus, voice echoing in the smoky hall.
The messenger has come. The signs are here. It is time to reclaim the ancient right of the Sun Guard. To pilgrimage to our ancient shrine in the Frost Cliffs to declare the deeds done in the light of the sun. Go, ride the ancient roads. Do right by all you meet. Be valiant, be true. Hold to your code.
Anointing your forehead in oil, the Sword Saint declares in a singing tone the visions and signs for your vouchsafed quest, the signs of the sun you are under. As the Sword Saint anoints Raphis' head with holy oils, visions begin to fill his head. He sees resentment and greed. He sees trembling hands cleansing. Serving the shrine of the Order of the Sun Guard and the surrounding lands has been all that Raphis has known his entire adult life, just like his father and brother before him. In fact, his brother made the very same quest when Raphis was but a lad, a pilgrimage which he did not return from, and with only his sword making its way back home. The very same sword which Raphis wields to this day. Now, in the twilight of his years, he is finally called upon to make his own journey. Packing his supplies and his brother's blade, he looks back at the shrine nervously as he leaves the only home that he ever knew. With the Sword Saint's words ringing in your ears, you mount your horse and depart, riding over the edge of all that you ever known, down the rough mesa roads to the great beyond. Crossing the desert. Wind and sand and heat, the desert lies before you and across the edges of your memory. Making his way from the valley, Raphis sees before him the vast desert. This has been the furthest that he has ever traveled. As the oppressive heat bears down on him, he looks up and sees a great hawk soaring high above. Suddenly, the hawk swoops down and flies back up with a snake in his claws. This reminds Raphis of his younger years training in the shrine. His brother was brutal in his lessons, but afterwards he was always kind when tending to Raphis' wounds. He remembers his brother's words after one such training session. In battle, you cannot be kind. You must be aggressive and ruthless if you wish to be the one that returns home. When night finally does fall, Raphis comes upon one of the ancient hovels of the Order and sets up camp. But he was awakened at some point during the evening to the sound of movement. Quickly waking up, Rafis takes up his blade and finds that a young thief was going through his belongings in search of coin and food. Seeing the poor state of this young man, Rafis offers half of his supplies as well as instructions to the Sun Guard shrine. Hopefully this young man can find new meaning and camaraderie with the order. Under the shadowy pines, the air is clean and smells of sap. Drips of yesterday's rainfall fall slowly down through the arbor onto your hands. The sun seems far away now through the tightly woven boughs. As Rafis makes his way from the desert to the pine-filled forest, the fresh scents of the trees invigorates him as he makes his way down the road. As the sun goes down, the clattering of wooden wheels greets Rafis' ears as he sees a humble cart drawn by a donkey and led by a midwife. Exchanging a few words with the woman, Rafis finds out that a nearby family is expecting a birth soon. New life is precious and a good reason to celebrate. Before parting ways, the midwife offers Rafis a healing poultice for his journey, which he accepts graciously. Now, well into the night, Rafis finds himself lost deep in the pines, and before he knows it, he finds himself in the middle of a ring of flowers as giggling voices sound out from the shadows. This must be one of those fey rings that Rafis learned about from his lessons back at the shrine. Those stories told of how victims of these rings were cursed by the small folks, and to escape, they can either bargain or win their freedom in a game of chance. And so, Rafis challenges them to a riddle contest, and if he could answer their riddles before the sun rises, he could go free. It was back and forth all night, but just as the sun crested above the trees, they gave one final riddle. A golden nugget that never stays, the coin whose face gives wealth to all. Strands, nuggets, and dust of gold are all bought with its shining grace, and all are more precious than any gleaming metal. What am I? The sun, Rafis answers with a smile. The river valley, rushing water over stones and through the reeds, creeks joined to great rivers flowing down form the frost cliffs beyond. Blooms surround you in the great river valley. Sleepy and weary after that encounter with the Fae, Rafis decides to travel on, to get as far away from the pines as possible. Soon, he finds himself in the river valley with its mighty river running through it. Now, if he follows the waterway, he knows he will soon make it to the frost cliffs. As he presses forward, Rafis finds himself this time in the middle of a tournament of noble knights from all orders and corners. One of the local lords, recognizing the Sun Guard symbol on Rafis' armor, offers him a place on the list, as the Sun Guard has no representative to defend its honor in the tournament. While Rafis does somewhat decently in the first rounds of the contest, soon weariness and exhaustion win out as he is unhorsed. With that, Rafis is finally able to take a well-deserved rest. As morning breaks and Rafis prepares himself for the next leg of his travels, he spies a magnificent bejeweled fish leaping from the river. Transfixed, Rafis stares at this fish, and unbeknownst to him, he begins to make his way towards the waters and into its murky depths. Liquid begins to fill his lungs as he looks up and sees the light from the sun above, and a voice urging him to stay true. to his quest. Suddenly, remembering his duty, he struggles against the water and returns back to shore. Ascending the frost cliffs. The late autumnal wind shrieks through your bones as you begin your climb, with foreboding clouds threatening snow to cover the trail in the coming hours. Rafis finally makes his way to the frost cliffs and begins to scale its treacherous peaks. The cold chills the questing knight to his very bones. Just then, crash! Boulders begin to fall from above, one after another, followed by rough voices hurling both curses and insults. The voices were like two pieces of granite rubbing together. Squinting his eyes, Rafis could make out the shapes of harpies high above. Continuing his climb up, Rafis' hand grips a loose rock that breaks off, and the knight soon finds himself falling from the cliff. With a thud, he lands on a ledge. Struggling to stay focused from the pain, he spies a small opening in the mountain, and he begins to drag his body towards the cave. Getting up, Rafis limps into the cave. Outside, he could hear the harpies land on the ledge. Drawing his blade, he makes his stand. Rafis could feel the icy grip of fear upon his heart. As the harpies make their advance towards him, their mocking voices sing of what they will do to his corpse. Was this how his brother felt in his last moments? Steel clashed against claws. Wet blood splattered against the cavern walls. And then, silence. When the dust settles, Rafis stands victorious, but also battered and bloodied, with his brother's sword in hand. Looking down on his trembling hands, he remembers the vision from the shrine. Those trembling hands were his, cleansing in the aftermath of victory. His fate will not be like his brother's. He will press on. The endless stairs. Up and up, carved into the mountain face, thousands and thousands of stairs going around the mountain to the long, abandoned hollow halls of the Sun Guard. At the bottom of the steps, a warrior's encampment of cruel, dread arbiters of will, a militant order of grim renown. Battered and wounded after his battle with the harpies, Rafis knew he could not face off against these warriors and must find another way to the halls of the Sun Guard. Waiting until nightfall, Rafis makes use of the darkness to sneak past the guards and patrols and towards the stairs. All the normal pathways up towards the endless stairs were just too closely guarded. Was this the end of Rafis' quest? After all the trials and tribulations he has faced thus far, is this the end? As he ponders this, a pair of hands appear behind him and twists his arms back. Ugh! It was one of the sentries. Cursing his own inattentiveness, Rafis whips his head back and hears the satisfying crack of his assailant's nose breaking. Now, free from his enemy's hold, Rafis draws his blade. As the two warriors slowly circle, a look of pure malice is on the arbiter's face as he growls out, "You broke my nose! Oh, I'm gonna take my time gutting ya!" With a roar, the enemy charges forward and swings his blade at Rafis, who skillfully defends himself. But the blow was so mighty that it knocks the blade out of Raphus's hand and sends him sprawling. Licking his lips, the Arbiter picks up Raphus's sword.
You know, I always wanted a Sun Guard's blade. Heard these swords never lose their edge.
Standing over his downed opponent, the Arbiter was about to plunge the blade into Raphus's heart. But just then, the knight sees, from the corner of his eye, the ghostly form of his brother, mouthing the words,
"You must be aggressive and ruthless if you wish to be the one that returns home."
Grabbing a handful of dirt, Raphus flings it into the Arbiter's face and then kicks out at his foe's knee. With a curse, the Arbiter's hands go up to his eyes and then crumples onto the floor with a shout of pain. Drawing his dagger, Raphus plunges it into the Arbiter's face. Breathing heavily, he looks down at his enemy's corpse. "You should have killed me when you had the chance. You were just too greedy." Picking up his brother's sword once again, Raphus looks back and forth. That shout will surely bring more patrols. Looking back to where he saw his brother, Raphus sees something glinting in the darkness. With no other plan, he begins making his way towards it and finds himself standing before the opening of what looks to be an overgrown cavern, and the glint was from the moonlight off a piece of mosaic tile. Just then, he could hear voices off in the distance. They must have found the sentry's body. With no other choice, Raphus enters the cavern, which leads him deep into some tunnels. Seconds turn into minutes, which then turn into hours as these passageways twist and turn. They seem to go on forever until Raphus finds himself standing before a great stone idol. Looking around him, he was surprised when it begins to speak in a low, rumbling voice.
"To pass, present your offering."
Looking around, Raphus says with a sigh, "I have neither coin, jewels, or treasure. All I have is my brother's blade and my quest."
"To pass, present your offering."
Unsheathing his brother's sword, Raphus looks at it. It was his last connection to his brother, and all that he has left. Kissing the flat of the blade, he says, "With this, I lay my final burden down and press forward to journey's end." After uttering those words, Raphus plunges the sword into the earth.
"Your offering is accepted."
The stone idol's mouth then stretches wide open into an entrance with stairs leading up. The Declaration of Deeds. The Shrine of the Sun Guard stands proudly surveying the lands the Order once held guardianship and protection over. Years and wars and opportunistic thievery have brought low the stained glass and many of the timbers that supported the upper floors, where warriors once prayed for guidance and restoration. The sun gleams over the frost cliffs and across the valley below, with the mesa where your brethren dwell far on the horizon. A young voice calls to you with weary wisdom beyond its years. "Pilgrim, do you come to offer your deeds? Let us regard your countenance. It is time for the judgment." As you make your way inside the fallen, rotting hall of your order, the rising sun shines through the broken stained glass, illuminating colorful patterns on the worn rugs that cover the stone tile floors. A brisk wind chills you to the bone. As you process, you hear music, though there are no players, and see on either side of you a procession of spirits, old and young, your brethren who have quested the pilgrimage road before you. Their faces are encouraging you to make your way down the long path to the sanctum and the last guardian. At the center of the sanctum stands a giant blazer which roars heartily with flame. A voice cries out to you.
How have you fallen low? What are your failures?
In a moment of dire danger, I foolishly pressed forward when caution would have been a wiser approach.
What deeds have thou wrought, pilgrim? Declare them.
My deeds are thus: the generous shepherd of the sand, the riddle master of the pines, the river valley representative of the sun guard, the defier of the river beast, the climber of the treacherous peaks, the slayer of harpies, and the bearer of the final burden. After each, a great shout comes from the assembled brethren, and the fire pops with furious joy. When you are finished, you feel a warm embrace and hear the whispered words, "It is finished." As you open your eyes, the spirits have departed. The shrine is now made whole, as it would have been in the glorious days of your order, sanctified. What happens next is for you and your brethren to decide. The Sun Guard's place in this new world is yet to be forged. All right, and that has been, Pilgrimage of the Sun Guard by Amanda P. And that has been our solo Fun Day Sunday with a solo TTRPG. And I don't know about you, but actually I had some fun. I had a lot of fun actually doing this, and I think I'm going to make this kind of a regular thing. I'm not sure right now if I'm going to do this every week, but you know what? Let's start off with every other Sunday. Kind of around this time, I guess. Well, not this time, but around where we started, which is like around 5 p.m. So keep an eye out on my social medias. I'll post up a promo stating when the next Sunday. Yeah, no, not next Sunday. The Sunday after, when we're going to do another solo TTRPG. And what time? Yeah. But yeah, until next time, I have been your weaver of tales, your chronicler of legends, and ever so humble storyteller. And you can find me all over the internet on my social media, which is at Mr. Kapow. That's MRKAPAO. Or, if you're watching this on YouTube, I will put my link tree, which is at also Mr. Kapow, down in the description below. And as always, be good, be great, be awesome. Bye.